Hello, friends. Welcome to our channel, New NBA USA Friends. The Orioles finally picked up a starting pitcher in free agency, and no, it's not Corbin Burnes. They just gave a 35-year-old $13 million. We'll talk about that in a second. Robert Manfred got called out by an ace, an all-star. He got called out by Kevin Gausman. Kevin said not to trust a single word, that Robert Manfred says that actually happened. And staying with Robert Manfred, he gave a nearly 30-minute interview with questions for cancer, talking about the pitch clock, ghost runners, deferred money, the ABS automatic ball strike system. He talked about a lot, and we're going to get into that later in the video. If you're brand new to the channel, this is new NBA USA MLB recap. We give updates every single day on the game of baseball. So if you like that sort of stuff, leave a like and stick around, hit that subscribe button. Now, you might be wondering why I'm wearing a Dodgers hat to begin today's recap, and that's because I did not want to forget to talk about the fact that Freddie Freeman's walk-off Grand Slam baseball just sold at auction for almost $1.6 million. It sold for $1.56 million. Now, that's not the only baseball that just got sold in auction. The In-N Judge drop baseball just sold for almost $44,000, just above $43,000. So the Freeman ball, 1.56, that infamous drop baseball from Aaron Judge out there in center field, just sold for $4-something, just bananas. We'll talk about the 35-year-old star pitcher that just went to the Orioles after we talk about the 28-year-old electric factory, Jeffrey Yan. Look at this dude. This dude is going to make so many people mad, but also become a lot of people's favorite pitchers overnight because Jeffrey Yan is a madman on the mound. Now walks have certainly eaten him alive, and he's going to go to the Rockies where baseballs absolutely fly. But this is one of the first times in a while that he's going to be given a chance at cracking a Major League Baseball roster. And so far in the Winter League, he's actually gotten the walks in check for the first time in a long time. Since early in his, Dominican career, I had to bring him up because you rarely see this from an athlete, let alone a baseball player. Do you think that he's going to be loved for it or hated for it? And without further ado, let's talk about 35-year-old Tomoyuki Sugano. If I botch that, I'm really sorry. But he just signed for $13 million. That's a lot of money. He's getting more than Shane Bieber to pitch in 2025, which again blows my mind because he's 35 years old and has never pitched in Major League Baseball, let alone won a Cy Young like Shane. But then again, Shane, he's coming off with Tommy John. Na Sanu is no Kodai Senga or UD Darish. And what I mean by that is he still puts up those kinds of numbers. And I'm talking about Japan numbers, but he's not a flamethrower like a Darish or AS when they came over to Major League Baseball, but his movement makes up for it, plenty. Look at the movement on some of these pitches now. Again, he just turned 35 years old, but he did have a tiny 1.67 ER last year, en route to winning the Central League MVP, but he also has a tiny 6.4 strikeouts per 9. He had 111 strikeouts and 156 innings. So a lot of people are saying, hey, those numbers are not going to cut it in the game of baseball with better talent. Now, we actually did get a live look at Tomoyuki back in 2017 in the World Baseball Classic. He went 6 innings, he allowed 1 earned run, he struck out Prime, Christian Yelich, Nolan, Ronaldo, Adam Jones. I know he wasn't fully Prime. Adam Jones, John Carlos Stanton, the movement on some of these pitches, and his ability to just challenge the zone with the fastball and the cutter. He looks like he could be really good. But again, 2017 was nearly 8 years ago, so we'll see how much has changed. He was in his 20s then. So on paper, the Orioles could go Zach Eflin, Grayson Rodriguez, Dean Kramer, Tomoyuki Sugano, and Trevor Rogers. What about a Corbin Burnes? What if they trade Han Kirad for another starting pitcher? Well, it seems like a trade might be a little bit more probable because reports are surfacing that the new owners of the Orioles really want to spend money. But the GM, Mike Elias, or Elias, I can't remember how to say his last name. He is hesitant to take on that much money because he does not want to risk his reputation as a GM or his plan to be the anti. Dodgers again. The rumors are saying that Mike Elias wants to build the antithesis of the Dodgers. He wants to prove that you can build a team from within. Now, I just want to remind people real quick, maybe if you're brand new to baseball, the Orioles, the reason why they've had so many top picks is because they were a bottom feeder for the longest time. Don't believe this guy. He's very much had to really suck it up in order to get all of these high draft picks, and also they just brought in the wall, the left field wall. They moved it back to stop Aaron Judge and the Yankees, and then they brought it back in because they realized, hey, we can't get free agents. So on one hand, he's saying, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to give a lot of money to free agents. But then he's admitting to giving $50 million to Tyler O'Neill, almost $10 million to Gary Sanchez, bringing that wall back in, incentivize these free agents to come and sign with the Orioles. But he doesn't want to be known as a guy who purchased the World Series. Which one is it? I'm just going to go ahead and say that Orioles fans are not dumb. You have a brand new ownership group who wants to spend money. Go get Corbin Burnes. You dummy, the last few times we've talked about trade rumors, they've actually come to fruition. I know that we didn't get the team right for Kyle Tucker, but we talked about him going to the Phillies, and then he was traded a couple minutes later to the Cubs. The Cubs might be going forward again. The reports are that a Jesus Lardo trade might be imminent, and the Cubs are reportedly the front runners. And that would be a nasty one. 2-3 lefty trio with Justin Steele, Shah Imanaga, and Jesus Luzardo. Now, he did just have his worst season since 2021 when he put up a 6+ ER. He had a 5 ERA in 2024 with more walks, less strikeouts, a terrible combination. But to be fair, he had elbow issues, back issues, and 7 of his final 8 starts were quality starts. So I get why the Cubs would want to get this guy. He's young, and also he's nasty. He's throwing 97+ when he's actually right. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Near 30-minute interview that Robert Manfred had with questions for cancer research. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go by a bullet point. But if you want to watch the full thing, I'll leave it in the description down below. So the first thing they talked about is Robert Manfred will not be implementing an innings limit for starting pitchers, basically. That he will not be requiring teams and starting pitchers to go 5 or 6 innings, or else something bad is going to happen. Now, he did add that he wants to create a series of rules that creates incentives to develop a certain type of starting pitcher in the minor leagues, that he wants to incentivize teams to create pitches that go longer and longer in the game. Now, the Blue Jays ace and all-star Kevin Gausman, he came out and fired off on Robert Manfred once he caught wind of this. He said not to believe a single word the man says, which, I mean, Kevin Gausman firing off on the commissioner. On a random, what day is it today, Tuesday? That's wild. Manfred really wants to go back to the kind of old-school 8090's way of pitching, where a Pedro Martinez would basically be penciled in for 6 or 7 innings, and same with a Curt Schilling. He said that the face that we see the most in a broadcast is the starting pitcher, the fact that they're going 2 or 3 innings, if that in a playoff series, and then you bring in the bullpen for 7-8 innings. He hates that. And he wants that to change. But I don't know how he's going to do that with just incentives to tell teams, hey, build up starting pitchers, they're already doing that. But bullpens are that good. He also briefly mentioned that MLB physicians have tagged velocity and spin as the Tommy John culprit. Not the pitch clock, here we go. He talked about deferred money. He actually said out loud that deferred money is becoming problematic because the numbers are getting higher and higher. He says that, again, they're problematic when the numbers are big. He brought up the case from 2004 when the Diamondbacks, they ran into a lot of trouble. They deferred almost $260 million. Again, this is 2004. So 260 was a lot. And